The Madrid internet is absolutely unhinged today, and honestly, I think we deserve it. We've got the biggest game of the season in 4 days, and the fan base is simultaneously terrified, slightly hopeful, and somehow arguing about Vinicius's character instead of his football. Que barbaridad.
And yet here we are, which tells you everything about the emotional state of this fan base right now. There's no clean feeling going into this City game. It's all tangled up, relief from Celta, dread about the injuries, and then these opinion pieces dropping like grenades into an already exhausted vibe.
Let's start with the news that actually gave fans a tiny sliver of hope this morning. Guardiola left Haaland out of the squad for City's game against Newcastle, rested him deliberately, and the Madrid fan base has gone from "we're completely doomed" to "wait, maybe we're only partially doomed."
The reactions I've been seeing are genuinely hilarious. One fan wrote, and I quote, "Pep resting Haaland is the best signing Madrid have made all season," which honestly is both funny and a little bit sad.
Madre mia, but is he wrong though? Because look at our squad for this game. No Mbappe, no Bellingham, no Rodrigo. Rodrigo isn't back until December, which still makes me want to cry every time I say it out loud. We are going into a Champions League knockout tie, genuinely hoping Guardiola's rotation decisions save us.
Here's the thing though, Haaland rested for one league game doesn't mean he's injured. It means Guardiola is managing him, which is exactly what a smart coach does before a big European game. But I understand why fans are clinging to it. When you're this short on firepower, you look for any edge.
And City's squad is genuinely terrifying when you look at it properly. Foden, Bernardo Silva, Reinders, who has been unreal this season, Doku, Marmoush. Even if Haaland has one bad night, they have so many ways to hurt you. I've seen fans on the forums genuinely trying to talk themselves into believing Asensio can handle this, and I love the optimism, but vamos, let's be realistic.
Asensio has been better than anyone expected, let's be fair to him. But you're right that the margin for error against City is basically zero. The one thing I'd say is that this Madrid squad, weirdly, has started to develop a certain scrappiness under pressure. Celta was not pretty, it was not elegant, but they found a way.
Valverde found a way, you mean? And actually, that brings me to something I saw in the news today that I found genuinely fascinating. Apparently, Arbeloa's staff told Valverde at the start of the season, "We want you scoring 10 to 12 goals this year." 10 to 12. They had a specific attacking target for him from day one.
And the fan reaction to that has been really interesting. Half the fan base is saying, finally, someone is using Valverde properly. Ancelotti never trusted him to be a goal threat like this. The other half is saying, this is what happens when your number 10s are all in the treatment room. You repurpose your engine into a playmaker. Both things can be true.
Yesterday, we talked about the Valverde love fest after Celta, and I said he was the only thing standing between us and collapse. And today we find out it wasn't even accidental. Arbeloa's team designed this. They looked at Fed and said, "You're not just going to be our motor, you're going to be our goal threat." I have a lot more respect for the coaching staff hearing that.
It also reframes the whole Arbeloa debate slightly, doesn't it? Because people, including us to be honest, have spent a lot of time asking whether Arbeloa is lucky or good. And maybe the answer is, he's not tactically revolutionary, but he has clear ideas about specific players, and sometimes that's enough.
Venga, let's get into the Vinicius thing because I cannot ignore it, and it's clearly what's dividing the fan base most today. There's an opinion piece from Pedro Morata in Marca, and look, I'm not here to platform it, but the basic argument is that Vinicius uses racism as an excuse for bad behavior, and Tio, the comment section is a war zone.
I've read it, and I think the honest thing to say is that this debate has two completely separate strands that people keep collapsing into one. There's the question of whether Vinicius sometimes behaves provocatively on the pitch. That's a legitimate football conversation. And then there's the question of whether the racism he faces is real and serious. And that's not up for debate. It absolutely is.
But the problem is, and I've seen this in the fan comments, people use one to dismiss the other. He provokes people so the racist abuse is justified. No. Absolutely not. Those are two different conversations and conflating them is dangerous. And then you've got other fans saying any criticism of Vinicius's behavior is just coded racism, which also shuts down legitimate discussion.
One fan comment I saw that I thought was actually quite thoughtful said, "I can think Vini needs to manage his reactions better and think the people abusing him are criminals. These are not contradictory positions." And I think that's the most honest place to land, but it's a nuanced position, and nuance doesn't travel well on social media.
What frustrates me is the timing of all this. We have Manchester City in 4 days. Vinicius is one of the few fit attacking players we actually have. And instead of the conversation being, how does Vini exploit City's left side, or can he carry this team without Mbappe? We're relitigating his character. It feels like the discourse is working against us.
To be fair, the discourse is always going to go wherever it goes regardless of the fixture schedule. But I take your point. From a pure fan morale perspective, this is not the ideal pre-match energy. What I'll say about Vini is this. Against Celta, he was involved, he was direct, and when he's in that mode, he's genuinely unplayable in transition. City will have to account for him.
Okay, one more thing I want to talk about because almost nobody in the main fanbase spaces is discussing it, and I think it's actually a beautiful story. La Fábrica, the academy, there's a coach there, Álvaro López, who just hit 40 consecutive wins in the Liga across Cadete A, Juvenil C, and Juvenil A. 40 in a row.
And this barely registered for most fans because everyone's eyes are fixed on the first team, which is understandable. But when you're in the middle of an injury crisis that has exposed how thin this squad is, the academy pipeline isn't just a nice story. It's actually the answer to a structural problem.
Thiago Pitarch started against Celta. An 18-year-old from the academy thrown into a massive away game in a title race, and he didn't embarrass himself. That's Álvaro López's work filtering through. And meanwhile, we're sitting here worrying about whether we can afford a striker in January. The striker might already be at Valdebebas.
Gonzalo Garcia is another one. Remember, 2 episodes ago, we were talking about fans saying he won't give up the number 9 shirt for anyone. And they weren't wrong. He's forcing his way into the conversation in the most Madrid way possible, by just being there and being useful when everyone else is broken.
The old guard on the forums, the socios who've been watching since the 90s, they're the ones who actually appreciate this most. There's always been a strand of Madridismo that believes in La Fábrica even when the club doesn't. And right now, accidentally or not, the club is being forced to believe in it too.
40 wins in a row is a managerial record that would get enormous coverage if it happened in the Premier League, by the way. Just saying, Álvaro López deserves his flowers.
So where does that leave us going into Manchester City? Injuries everywhere. Haaland may be slightly rested, Valverde with a goal mandate, Vini carrying the attack, and a fan base that is simultaneously hopeful, terrified, and arguing about everything except the actual game. Classic Madrid, Tio. Genuinely, this is the most Madrid situation imaginable.
Look, on paper, we should not be competitive in this tie. On paper, this squad, as currently constituted, has no business going to Manchester and getting a result. But we said something similar about Celta away, and Valverde scored a winner. Madrid always finds a way to make you feel stupid for writing them off.
Hala Madrid and nothing else. That's all I've got. We'll be back before the City game with everything you need. The lineup debates, the injury updates, whatever fresh chaos emerges between now and Wednesday. Until then, Tio, don't read the comments.
Definitely read the comments. That's literally our job. See you next time.